Go na? So, good afternoon everyone. My name is Ronaldin Ibay Betita.
And I am Vincent J. Belbar.
And I'm Danica Rose Berroya. And we are from 2BSDCB. So, the title of our report today is all about community broadcasting. So, compared to the development broadcasting, masasabi nating ang community broadcasting ay more recent vintage. Pero ang dalawang ito ay walang pagkakaiba when it comes to the intent and purpose of promoting development. Ang tanging kaibahan lamang nila ay ang pagdating sa coverage dahil ang development broadcasting only focus on the local issues and concern of the community. So the main objective of these two is to promote national or the community development. So here are some definitions of community broadcasting. So community radio responds to the needs of the community it serves, contributing to their development within progressive perspectives in the favor of social change. Community radio strives to democratize communication through community participation in different forms in accordance with each specific social context. So in simple terms, community radio is when local people produce and broadcast their own programs and participate in operating their station. So the main goal of the community radio is to respond to the needs of the people in a community by giving all the information they need, especially to the issues and concerns that happen every day in their community. So radio is very helpful for those millions of people who have no access to the internet connection, lalong-lalo na sa mga kababayan nating nakatira sa mga liblib na lugar or sa mga bundok na talagang hindi naabutan ng signal or hindi afford bumili ng television. So, community radio is a life-saving information and also an effective way of delivering information to the people. So, for example, in this time of COVID-19 pandemic, malaking tulong ng community radio para sa mga estudyanteng nakatira sa mga lugar na walang internet connection at television. Lalong-lalo na sa ngayon na hindi pa pinapayagan ang face-to-face class. So alam naman natin na karamihan sa mga lugar dito sa Pilipinas ay walang access sa internet connection. Walang access sa internet connection, kaya naman na siyang nagpapahirap sa pag-aaral ng mga estudyante. So karamihan ay pumupunta sa mga matataas na bukid, umaakyat sa mga puno para lang makasagap ng signal. Kaya ginamit ang community radio or tinatawag na radio-based instruction as a learning modality para sa mga estudyanteng walang signal. So this community will provide the teachers with the information they need to keep the students actively engaged in learning activities during the pandemic. So ang community radio ay hindi lang pala para sa pagbabalita at pagbibigay ng impormasyon sa mga audience sa komunidad, kundi pwede din siyang gawing learning model para sa mga estudyanteng walang signal o malayo sa syudad. Next. So the next is community broadcasting is low power transmission to a homogeneous population. So ang regional komunidad ay isang serbisyo sa radio na nag-aalok ng ikakang modelo ng pagsasang papawid sa radyo. Bilang karagdagan sa komersyal at pampublikong pagsasayang papawid, ang mga istasyon ng komunidad ay nagsisilbi sa mga geograpikong komunidad at mga komunidad ng interes. Nag-broadcast din sila ng content na sikat at may katuturan sa isang local, particular na madla. Ngunit, madalas na hindi pinapansin ay mga commercial o mass media broadcaster dahil ito ay naayon lamang sa maliit na area kumpara sa malaking area sa parehong lugar. At dito ma-distinguish na galing ito sa micro-broadcasting and broadcast translators. So the
Next is community broadcasting is a systematic use of radio for the purpose of facilitating consciously the development of people within geographical area with clearly defined psychophysical boundaries by Berroya 1990. So in that definition, a sense of community is created around that definition since community broadcasting gives a voice to the voiceless. Listeners are empowered to express their thoughts and opinions and their point of view on what matters to them. And community broadcasting also shapes the opinion of the people in a certain area as a whole. So In this kind of way, it can help to create a tight-knit community.
So the following are the characteristics of community media according to Maslog 1997.
So the first characteristic of community media is it is owned and controlled by the people in the community. So community media stations are usually owned, operated, and influenced by the community they serve. They are generally nonprofit and provide a mechanism for enabling individuals, groups, and communities to tell their own stories, to show experiences, and to broadcast those programs which related to that community interest. Next characteristic is limited coverage or reach. So community media usually is a short range, not for profit stations or channels that caters for the informations of the community. And next, and one characteristic of community media is it is usually smaller and low cost. So as community media station is usually run by volunteers using low cost technology, it tends to be easy to obtain free or inexpensive airtime. And also it is a tiny station that requires little investment, maintenance, or contribution from the community, yet at the same time offer more and better interaction.
So the next is provide interactive two-way communication. So provide interactive two-way communication. Uses of community media which include interactive two-way communication has big community communications or community media. Ang community media ay mga option ng media para magamit ng komunidad para sa layunin na ipasya ng komunidad. Ang mga ito ay media kung saan ang mga miyembro ng komunidad ay may access para sa impormasyon, edukasyon, at libangan. Ang mga ito ay media kung saan nakikilahok ang komunidad bilang mga tagaplano, producer, at tagapalabas. Ang community media ay tinatawag na two-way communication na isang pagpapalitan ng mga tao at balita and not a transmission from one source to another, and it is always includes feedback from the audience. So the next characteristic of community media is reflect community needs and interests. Community radio serves geographic communities and communities' interests. The content of broadcasting is largely popular and relevant to a locally specific audience that tackles the local issues and concerns of the community. It provides mechanism for facilitating individuals, groups, and communities to tell their own diverse stories and also to share experiences. Itinataguyod nito ang mga isyu ng agrikultura, pagkakapantay-pantay ng kasarian, edukasyon, kalakalan, at komersyo, panahon, natural na kalaunan. Karaniwan din para sa mga tao ang radyo ng komunidad. Pinahusay din ito ang mga kakayahan ng mga lokal na tao na magtulungan upang harapin ang isang hanay ng mga problemang panglipunan kabilang ang kahirapan at pagbubukod sa pamamagitan ng community radio. So the next is non-profit and autonomous, therefore non-commercial. So community media is a non-commercial media na hindi parte ng public broadcasting system. It only collaborates with schools and local organizations. It is typically sponsored by non-profit organizations. So ang community media ay hindi kontrolado ng gobyerno as a public service, and they do not advertise except with a brief message at the beginning acknowledging for sponsors, and especially wala silang pakialam sa ratings. So none of them does not do the advertising income to cover the cost of running the station. So next is utilizes appropriate indigenous materials and resources. So katuwang ang community radio sa pagpapalakas ng boses ng mga katutubo sa mga isyong mahalaga sa kanilang community. So the community radio has the ability to access many communities that makes a key medium to reach the indigenous audiences. So they produce programmings to strengthen their capacity to claim their rights and be able to access information that reflects with the community needs and interests. Community media gives an opportunities in every indigenous radio stations to strengthen their broadcast infrastructure and systems. And also, they provide training opportunities in broadcasting. Wait. So, last is its program or content support community development. So, the main objective of community is just to create affinity or through it the development. So, the aim is to give voice to the voiceless. So, community media outlets offer alternative content that may not be available in other media. So, for example, maaari nitong tugunan ang mga local concerns at magbigay ng information about local cultures na hindi napapansin ng mainstream media or wala pang napagkukunan ng sapat na resources. So by communicating information, we're transmitting social and cultural values which aim at sustaining development. So the programs and contents are very useful to keep our communities connected and in everyday happenings. So at the same time, connect communities to the present and future by delivering news and information to the people around the world. So here are the characteristics of community broadcasting according to Gomez 1975. So first, purposive. It has a specific purpose in communicating, whether it is to motivate, to inform, to educate, or to entertain. So community radio is very purposive when it comes to delivering news and information. It caters for the information needs of people living in a particular locality. It informs people about the local issues and concerns, entertain them through listening music and drama. So, karaniwan sa mga ini-ere ng community radio ay about sa mga emergency alerts, health information, lalo na sa COVID-19 information, entertainment, music, and local election. So, other radio station mobilize for campaigns. Halimbawa, nag-a-announce sila ng mga campaign events, hosting talk shows with candidates, or playing campaign songs. So, isa sa mga naririnig natin araw-araw sa radyo ay about sa COVID-19 information, na kung saan nakakatulong para ma-inform tayo sa mga nangyayari sa loob at labas ng ating komunidad. Lalong-lalo na sa mga taong nasa malalayong lugar, na kagaya ng sabi ko kayo na, walang internet connection or television. Next is audience-oriented. An understanding of the intended audience of the radio broadcast is a primary consideration of community broadcasting. It is important to know the characteristics, needs, interests, problems, or concerns of the people. So, it is very important to be connected with the people in our community for us to be able to know their issues and concerns. Mahalaga ding malaman natin ang kanilang mga problema at interes at lalong-lalo na ang pangangailangan. So, as a radio broadcaster, you need to think from the perspective of your audience so that you can identify what they need to hear in order to understand everything, especially the news that you will broadcast. Third is systematic and organized. It has direction. The program are a result of well-thought-out decisions and careful planning. So a good way to begin the plan and well-organized program is with information background of such particular issue that you wish to broadcast. So lahat ng may kinalaman sa programa ay hindi basta-basta na i-broadcast lang, kundi kailangan din ito ng maayos na pagsusuri, lalong-lalo na pagdating sa mga balitang i-ere ng isang broadcaster. So lahat ng kaganapan sa istasyon ay ini-examine ng mabuti nang sa ganon makaproduce sila ng maayos sa programa sa kanilang mga audience. Next is research-based. Intended audiences and program impact are products of research. Even program content itself is based on needs assessment. So mahalaga sa radio broadcasting ang pagsisiyasat at pagsusuri ng mga balitang ibabroadcast sa radyo at sa mga kasalukuyang pangyayari dahil ito ay nagbibigay ng alternatibong mapagkukunan ng mga impormasyon na siyang may reliable sources. So ang pag-access sa mga impormasyon ang nagbibigay daan sa mga mananaliksik na ihambing ang mga nilalaman at pamantayan ng produksyon na ginagamit sa pagbabalita. The next is field-generated field-based. Program content comes from the community problems, concerns, activities, and other things. In addition, program production is field-based, that is the people themselves produce the program using their own people as talents on matter that are of direct concerns to them. So, ang field-based na programa ay lumitaw upang tumulong sa napunan ng malaking puwang sa communication at upang bigyan daan ng mga grupong ito na ma-access ang pangunahing impormasyon na makakatulong sa kanila na mapabuti ang kanilang mga sitwasyon at maipahayag ang kanilang mga alalahanin at maakit ang atensyon na kailangan nila upang matugunan ang mga ito. So the next is service-oriented. Service-oriented, the main concerns of community broadcasting is how to provide service or how to be of help to its audience. Programs provide information that is meant to help solve the problems of their intended. So, ito yung parehong gawain na ilaan upang matulungan ang mga tao sa isang partikular na lugar. Kung kukumpara sa development broadcasting, ang terminong community broadcasting, maraming interes dito ang dumating bilang resulta ng mabigyan ng mga tao ng mas access sa information at mga pagkakataon upang sila ay makilahok sa pagpapaunlad ng komunidad. Sa kabilang banda, ginagamit ang pagsasahimpapawid ng komunidad upang pagsilbihan ng mga pangangailangan ng isang maliit na geographical na lugar na karaniwang tinatawag na komunidad. So the next is audience involvement or participation. The audience participates not only in actual production, but also in decision-making at different stages of the production process. It is also participatory when greater control of the media is given to the community with the aim of empowering the people. So, audience involvement or participation. Ang pakikilahok o paglahok sa komunidad ay maaring maluwag na tukuyin bilang ang paglahok ng mga tao sa isang komunidad at mga proyekto ay upang malutas ang kanilang sariling mga problema. Ang participation ng komunidad ay isang mahalagang katangan na halos lahat ng istasyong kalahok sa sarili sa lahat ng relihiyon ay paglahok sa programming ay pinakamalakas. At ipinapakita ng mga resulta ang tradisyon ng mga anyo ng pakikilahok ng tagapakinig. Like for example is pakikilahok sa mga talk show o mga call-in program na makikita rin sa publiko o commercial na radio. Ang mga istasyon din ang pinakamadalas sa mga local komunidad na radio. Participation in ownership and funding management is not uncommon. So, that is good editoring and back system. A community radio station should have a built-in monitoring feedback system that should assess the performance of the radio station in general, and the community broadcasters in particular. The system also serves as gauge in determining audience.
Hello, Danica. Kaya pa ba?
Dapat si Danica?
Wala si Danica.
Next na.
So next is well-defined goals and objectives. The rationale and the set of the objectives of the broadcast program are clearly defined and laid out. So community broadcasting must possess a clear and transparent characteristic for its people or listeners in order for them to have a clear understanding on a certain station they patronize, on what intentions, plan, or goals of a community broadcast wants to feed them. Next is integrated element in the teaching learning process. Community broadcasting does not simply dispense information, it aims to educate people. So, community broadcasting supposed to nurture, provide, and serve the needs of people. It provides basic knowledge for its community. Community broadcasting, on the other hand, involves informal learning process. Some example of this learning program typically include child nutrition, family planning, and agricultural tips. And next is coordination and cooperation with the government and non-government agencies and institutions. Community broadcasting needs the cooperative and support of all agencies concerned in the community development work. So in relation with the community should be involved in all areas of operations, including management, policy, programming, and other community operations. It needs the support and cooperation of all agencies, both government and non-government. Since community broadcasting cannot operate in a vacuum of institutional support, community broadcasters must have a good relationship and connections in all agencies and its people as well, as they seek information to disseminate, including local news and current affairs content. It is essential to have a good relationship in any institutions inside the community.
So here are the three examples of community broadcasting station.
One example of radio community station is the radio DZLB. So the radio DZLB, it is known to be a radio station that helps people identify their needs and problems, present and discuss issues, mobilize and organize themselves for social action. So DZLB is a college radio station owned and operated by the UPLB or University of the Philippines, Los Baños. Through its College of Development Communication, it was established in 1964, providing educational programs to rural communities surrounding Los Baños. Its programming includes music program, request show, informative segment, and talk show, and school on-air programs. Radio DZLB is also known as ang tinig ng kaunlaran or the voice of the development. And it was operated by the Department of Development, Broadcasting and Telecommunication College of Development Communication, UPLB. Its studios and transmitters are located inside the university campus. So, DZLB programming is based on the general philosophy that it should have the responsibility of serving people interests and needs. DZLB airs a total of 35 programs, 20 are informal, 4 are educational, and 11 are entertainment. Out of the 35 programs, 18 are produced by the DZLB staff, 12 by the other agency in cooperation and coordination with DZLB, 2 by broadcasting students, and 3 by other agencies and broadcast through DZLB. Tama. So in December 1963, the APCA received a grant of $7,710 from Agricultural Development Council to install and operate a 250-watt educational radio station in the college. And in August 2, 1964, DZLB went on the air from Monday to Friday from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. And next, on September 1965, DZLB changed its status to campus station with all its programs broadcast in English and beamed primarily to the Los Baños community. And in 1968, DZLB programs were broadcast completely in Filipino. In October 1966 naman, the installation of 40-foot makeshift antenna. Ay, duro-duro. And next is November, and in November 1969, DZLB transferred to its new studios at the newly constructed Department of Agricultural Communication. A 200-foot standard tower antenna was constructed to strengthen DZLB's signal. In 1973, the World Bank, through the Educational Development Projects Implementing Task Force, envisioned DZLB to become the training center on rural broadcasting for radio station personnel of selected agricultural colleges and universities throughout the country.
Danica?
Then next is GCJO, Higit sa Lahat ng Tao. A non-government-owned radio station that began broadcasting in 1969. It is guided by the people's concept that less information equals less power, has a fourfold role as a community-based radio. Facilitator, educator, catalyst, and analyst. So, it is a marginalized community na pagmamayari at pinamahalaan ng Katoliko.
Nawala si Danica? Hello, naapa si Danica?
Wala na siya, wala na siya signal. Wala na gid siya, pati si Kyle, wala na. Iris.
Ara pa ko dere. Sige na, go na, basa, go.
Record siya.
Danica?
Oo, naga-record ko.
Nadula na siya.
So let's forward to Pambili Radio Community Radio Station. So this community is owned or managed radio station National Development Agency or the NIDA through UNESCO. So Tambili is an acronym for Tinig ng Aming Munting Bayan upang umunlad ang lalong maliliit, or the voice of the small communities for the development of the village. So Tambili means the Carabao horn, which is used by the ancient Filipino chefs to gather villagers to a meetings to discuss and decide on issues and a major concern of the people. So the program developed to empower Filipinos through information so that they would be motivated to take better advantage of existing development opportunities. So, ang tagumpay ng, according to my research, ang tagumpay ng Mahaweli Community Radio Project sa Sri Lanka ang siyang nagbigay daan para maipatayo ang Tambili Community Radio sa Pilipinas. In year 1986, the seed of Tambili Project was planted in a very informal way and ultimately began to germinate in year 1991. So in the same year, the UNESCO provided $25,000 to cover the cost of first 10-watt alert transmitter, which is the basic studio equipment in the radio station in Batanes. So in year 1990, ang Radyo Ivatan sa Batanes ay lumabas sa ere bilang pasimula ng Tambili Community Project. So ito na, year 1991. the Danish International Agency agreed to finance the first phase of the project through UNESCO Program for Development Communication. So in the same year, the program ran from September 1991 up to December 1994. At dito na nga nagkaroon ng malaking suporta mula sa mga komunidad at lokal na pamahalaan. So this project is aimed to set up community media and training centers. So the goal is use radio station or the local newspaper in community building. So the important feature in this project is the participation of the community. So it is a low-powered FM radio station and community newspaper were implemented with livelihood training in remote, isolated, and economically depressed communities in the Philippines. Its goal is community building. So isang low-powered radio station ang ilalagay sa bawat community at isang lokal na pamahalaan din ang itinatag kasama na ang livelihood program at community training center. So the media established in the community are owned and controlled by farmers, fishermen, youth, women, educators, religious groups, and local government officials for the Community Media Council. So the members of the council were given a chance to have a training in radio station management. And their topics were about script writing, voicing, news gathering, radio performance, station management, and also drama production. So the broadcasters in this community radio station are just volunteers na kung saan wala silang inaasahang bayad sa trabahong kanilang ginagawa. So also Tambili had established 20 community radio stations throughout the country. So in general, broadcasting means that the people consider the radio station as their own, that they identify with it because it gives them information that concern them, and that it provides programs that help them with their problems in which they can participate. And as Louis Tabing 1997 stated, the radio station is in the community, it is all about the community, it is for the community, and it's by the community. And that's all. Thank you. Wala patay si ano ba? Si Danica. Si Danica ba? Wala siya ano.